Welcome back to the LackLuster channel. A couple weeks ago, I covered an incident involving a part-time SWAT medic for the Pueblo County Sheriff's Office and his son, an amateur MMA fighter that unlawfully detained and brutally beat a homeless man. As always, to view the initial report, use the links below. As a reminder, the man is accused of various crimes, explained here by campus police in this newly obtained body cam footage.
He was sitting down, had his phone plugged in because there's an outlet right there by the door. He was smoking a little, whatever. They don't know what he was smoking, but they said he was starting to smoke. So they tried to confront him, tell him to leave. That's when he decided to get up and start spitting on people. Okay. No spit made contact to any, skin portion of the body, just all over the clothes. That's when they got into a confrontation with him. He started yelling. He started punching vehicles. He ended up punching his wife in the mouth, causing her pain. She didn't want to go to the hospital. She said her jaw was hurting though. Okay. She does want to press charges. She does want to press charges, yeah.
Of course, that is third-hand information from an officer who was not on scene and failed to follow his department's policies to wear a body cam. It is also alleged that the incident happened outside of the front door of a school that had no cameras observing the entrance, which means that no evidence has been produced to verify their claims. But I want to be very clear that nobody is defending the alleged actions of spitting on or punching a teacher or even their private property, and if it can be proven, appropriate, lawful actions should be taken. Instead, the man was savagely jumped by multiple people. Overall, he was pinned to the ground, stomped on, and punched 23 times on video, while as many as 5 people called to report the incident.
Beat up right outside of our store. Kid is yelling, can be sorry, somebody talk to him. I don't see any weapons, but they're restraining him. Grown man with a kid laying on the floor with his hands and legs behind his back, like almost hog-tied. And no, someone, he just got hit in the head. I need someone here as soon as possible, please. He's getting beat very hard. I need someone here.
One guy holding him down, and this other guy just started hitting him.
Someone just ran and kicked him. 2 people beating the crap out of him.
After the beating, the first officer on scene was Sergeant Heblinger of the Pueblo Police Department. Upon his arrival, he took the man into custody.
What's going on, guys?
So he punched a school teacher over at Parkview, and then I was going down the street, had to be my wife over there, and we have a picture from the school, the school secretary, and of course I think you already have that call probably on your screen.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to searching real well, like just getting ready to start.
Any weapons on you, dude?
He is beaten so badly that I can't show it here. His face is covered in blood and swollen on nearly all sides. He first tells Sergeant Heblinger that he was punched.
You want to wait by the Jeep, that's fine.
Sure. I'm going to take my med bag back.
Okay.
And the
Put up in your face, all right?
I got punched.
Okay, you want rescue?
I don't know what I want. My life no more.
Rescue for this male. He's got a fat cheek and some blood coming out of his mouth. I got him detained.
Officers Wagner and McLallen arrive on scene and take the man to their vehicle, but not before Officer McLallen gives daps to his buddy, one of the man's assailants, who should have also been taken into custody.
So he's the suspect in the one that punched the teacher at Parkview.
He punched the teacher at Parkview?
Yeah, my wife.
Okay.
So we had people.
What's going on?
So I stopped by the other school right over here on 9th and just gave him an FYI, hey, or FYI, and they're like, oh yeah, he's right over here. So.
Okay, thank you.
As the man is locked into the officer's cruiser, Sergeant Heblinger listens to Doug Collison's lies about what transpired.
Let me talk to you real quick first, right here.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So what exactly happened, man?
So my wife is a school teacher over there at Parkview. I'm also a part-time guy at the sheriff's office.
Okay.
So just a part-time guy, their SWAT medic.
Okay.
So my wife called me. She's like, hey, this guy is, right in front of the building, and we told him to leave. So he started throwing something or punching cars at the front of Parkview. So then she called me back probably about 5 minutes later. Was like, hey, he just punched me. So I'm like, okay, well, go inside. Unless you have kids out front, go inside and, get out of his way. So I saw him probably at whatever that other, you can get there. So I saw him at that cross street.
Okay.
So I just pulled up here because I was going to, see where he's going or whatever. So I did try to detain him here just until so you guys showed up. And there we go. So,
Given Doug's professional background, it is likely that he knows that his actions were unlawful and could rise to felony charges. But Doug is around friends and probably feels a sense of self-righteous indignation, and as he lies his way through his account of what happened, he can't help but smirk, a form of duper's delight. Doug has trained or trained with nearly every uniformed officer on scene. His smirk seems to indicate that he knows he's in good company, and that he need not fear the outcome of his actions. This would become even more apparent to Doug as Sergeant Heblinger assists Doug's lies, filling in the gaps of his story, though his explanation makes absolutely no sense.
Do you know how he got the blood? Was that already on there?
so he was trying to resist it a little bit, and my son right here, he must have heard too that he came up and helped put him to the ground. So
that was from falling to the ground?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did pull out of his pocket initially, then I was getting ready to do some medical on him, just until you showed up and then.
Okay, shoot up. Yeah, we got fire coming.
Yeah, gotcha. So let me get my stuff if you don't mind.
Yeah, not a problem.
Doug's lies are then repeated by the sergeant as he fills in Officer Baca, the one from the school that failed to wear a body cam.
So the dude that did it is in the back of that car.
Yeah.
They took him to the ground, and the process taking him to the ground, he said he landed on his face. He's got like a swollen cheek and blood on his mouth. He says that happened from that. He works part-time at TSO. Got a medic over there and stuff. So
Doug's story appears to be sticking, but the medics from Pueblo Fire are now briefed by the rookie, showing that Sergeant Heblinger knew that the call had been dispatched as a fight.
It came out that there was a fight, and there was two people holding down one person, beating him up, punching him, kicking him. And when the first officer got here, found this guy with like cheeks all puffy and bleeding and stuff. So I don't know if he was one of the ones that was getting held down, but he is the one that punched somebody up.
After having been seen by the medics, it's obvious that the man needs a hospital and likely did not sustain his injuries from falling over or being held down.
I don't. You want to take him or you want to stick him? He's got a lot of bumps on his head. Okay. Yeah. A doctor. So you're good. Okay. We'll close the door. We'll go talk to Baca real quick.
Sergeant Heblinger now tells Officer Baca a watered-down version of Doug's story.
son helped him take the guy to the ground, so I didn't get his stuff yet.
He was starting to turn over, because I'm trying to obviously make sure I don't have anything. He's starting to turn over, start to get up, and I didn't see him pull up, and he obviously pulled up and then helped.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of relying on you because I don't got my body cam.
Yeah, I got you.
It's the end of my day.
Officer Wagner then tells Baca that the fire medic says that the man needs to go to the hospital.
So he's clear, but fire's saying either AMR needs to transport him or we do. He has a bunch of lumps on his head. He needs to go to the hospital.
A bunch of lumps?
Yeah.
From when they took him down, he's ready to sit on the asphalt, I guess.
All right. I mean, initially it wasn't bad. You kind of wrestled him to the ground. I mean, it wasn't bad when he started to resist. As I was trying to check him out.
Yeah.
From Officer Baca's location, 3 cameras can be seen in plain view. That becomes important later. But for now, Sergeant Heblinger asks if Baca wants to take a statement from the men who, if the officers choose to believe their story up to this point, is still guilty of unlawfully detaining a man.
Do you want them to give them witness statement forms to write out, or you just want to write it in your citation? That's up to you. Okay.
As mentioned in my previous report, Baca would later write nothing more than a couple lines in his narrative, mentioning a citizen's arrest. Not a word about the man's hospitalization, injuries, or other important factors. But now, Sergeant Heblinger continues telling Baca that the man doesn't know how he was injured, despite his first statements to the sergeant.
When I get here, he's kind of not really on top of him, but like leaning over him, holding his arms back behind his back. His backpack was laying there, so I came up. I handcuffed him real quick, and no incident with me. I get him up and ask him what happened, and he's just kind of crying, saying he doesn't really know. He thinks he got hit, but he doesn't really know what happened. So I don't know. What happened to your face? You all right?
I got punched.
Okay, you want rescue?
I don't know what I want.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to talk to him or not, but he's handcuffed in the back there.
Okay.
Baca eventually questions the man, who now confirms, after the medics reported that he needed to go to the hospital because of how many bumps he had on his head, that he was punched.
You have some stuff on your face, you have some cuts and stuff. You know what happened? What happened? You got punched? Okay. What else happened? You just got punched? By who?
Baca will never ask Doug or Nate for a witness statement. In fact, they are treated much like the friends they are.
So you guys wrestled him down or what?
Yeah, we kind of wrestled him pretty good. They had punched my mom. She's been on them too. And she just called me and they're like, some guy just stopped me in the face.
Were you guys close by?
I live down over on Ash on Portland.
Yeah.
Dad's stayed over here and my dad had him. So he's kind of fighting my dad back, kind of had to wrestle him down a little bit. Yeah, man, that's kind of crazy. I was like,
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Good. You used to hang out anymore?
No, you
guys are okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
For allegedly punching a teacher with no substantive evidence, the man was jumped by anyone who felt like swinging on him, cuffed, trespassed, cited, and released to an ambulance. On the other side, for unlawfully detaining and brutally beating a man, Doug and Nate were fist bumped and allowed to leave with delicious refreshments from the ice cream shop, which, as we discussed, has 3 cameras in plain sight that not a single officer thought to ask for. Instead, the owner volunteered the footage to the department. Baca responded by email, asking for the links, and the owner sent them to Baca, which should have led to the arrest and prosecution of Doug and Nate Cullison. Instead, it took the work of local news, Lucky 225 and myself, to bring public awareness to the corruption within the department for them to take action. Less than 2 hours after my initial report, the Pueblo Police Department issued a statement claiming that, quote, police officers investigating this incident were given access to the video of the assault on September 19th, 2022. Due to technical difficulties, the investigating officer was not able to view the video or download the content as evidence, and no further follow-up was conducted. But let's not forget that even concerned 911 callers made sure to state on the record that they wanted to make sure that this was investigated properly.
I want to make sure that everyone in the situation is okay and there's no off report because it's on the ground with his face cracked open. You know what I mean? And another kid was on top of him Snapchat. You know, the kid should not have hit the teacher, I guess. That's what the husband said. But also the husband should not have tracked that kid down. He's in front of Nick's dairy on the ground.
Oh, yeah, we have officers there.
Yeah, and I get that, but I just want something reported that, like, the kid in this case obviously needs punishment, but he was not fighting back. But there was, like, multiple people holding the kid down, and his face was bloody.
Now, after being exposed, the department claims to be investigating the circumstances internally, but if their new investigation goes anything like this investigation...
My son right here, he must have heard too that he came up and helped put him to the ground, so that was from falling to the ground. Yeah, okay.
We won't hold our breath. Also, on the department's Facebook page are pictures of people they've arrested for various crimes. Doug and Nate's picture have not been displayed, despite the fact that on May 10th, 20 days after my first report, they were both finally charged with assault with a deadly weapon, a Class 4 felony. The man accused of punching a teacher was charged with a misdemeanor, third-degree assault. The focus of this video is to highlight the discrepancies of justice between a simple battery and a Class 4 felony assault with injuries, when one is carried out by an indigent transient, likely plagued by mental illness, and the more extreme crime is committed by a part-time SWAT medic and his son, and happens to be covered up. In the end, this story leaves us with only 2 possibilities. Number 1, Doug Cullison is a liar. The cops know it, but are corrupt and cover for their buddy. Or number 2, Doug Cullison is a liar, and the cops are too stupid and incompetent to do a proper investigation, even when the evidence is dropped in their lap. Either way, not a single officer involved has any business working in law enforcement, considering how badly this department botched this. There's still a lot more information about this case that has not been released or revealed, and I urge you to visit Lucky 225 for future updates. Mr. Conti is representing the man in his lawsuit, and was kind enough to supply the body cam footage that the department held for months. As updates emerge, I will be sure to bring them to you. Thanks for watching. If you have a video, use the submit link in the description or pinned comment. If you enjoyed this one, subscribe and hit the bell for future content, and check out our other channels, Lady LackLuster and The Odd Side. Remember to like, share, and leave a comment about what you think of this interaction. It's the easiest way for you to help expose corruption and misconduct. Merchandise is available using the links below. Join the LackLuster family for just $1 if you'd like to further support the channel. Get a Lack logo next to your name, custom emotes, and early access to videos. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. All links are down below.